Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 Weather Day.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 streaming this Friday morning. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley, of course, always joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford and Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. Okay, we're finally on that final day of this First Alert Weather Day. Although the morning temperatures are still going to be extremely cold, we're nearing a record low.
Yeah, still got a couple more hours of the nasty cold stuff before we start to warm, but we're threatening that record low of 10 below this morning. So far, it looks like 8 below has been the coldest, but those are based on the readings we get every hour, and there could have been somewhere in between where we dipped a little bit more. Right now, 8 below, there's that south wind, and you can see how the steam, as we look out across to the east, it's going from south to north. That's that south wind starting to pick up a little. That's going to help us out later, but right now, it makes the wind chill feel like 24 below. There's a lot of places where the wind is pretty calm, and that's where the temperature has dropped in the double digits below zero. Still a little breeze just kind of filtering right up the river that's able to keep the temperatures just a tad better along the river. You can see that. A lot of calms on the map as far as wind goes. A few 5 to 10 mile per hour winds right along the river holding things up. So it feels like 24 below in Omaha. It feels like 18 below in Harlan. At least the good news is when the temperature drops off, you don't have much of a wind chill in some of these spots. So it is a bitter cold morning yet again. As Aaron was talking about, a record low within reach. We're at 10 below for the record heading into this morning. 8 below is where we've been so far. We'll see where we go here later on. And southwest wind trying to pick things up, gust up near 20 miles per hour later on today. We like the light winds in the morning when we're at our coldest. You can see, I think we still got about another hour yet where that number could drop off before it starts to turn in a warmer direction. Right up near 10 above for the wind chill as it peaks later on today, but it takes a little while to get there. Probably don't have wind chills above zero until the lunch hour at the earliest. So here's where we're going to be as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. Could be threatening zero for an air temperature by 9, and then double digits by noon, especially river to the west. You get a few single digits hanging on the Iowa side, and you can see the streamlines there. That's that southwest wind starting to pick up. Could gust to 20, maybe 25 today. Not incredibly annoying, but it's trying to drag in some warmer air and kick out this Arctic air. 22 for the high today. Hopefully, maybe we can get a few spots that get mid-20s when you factor in car thermometers, home thermometers, those sort of things may warm a little bit more. By 7, down in the teens, and we're falling off by 10 o'clock down to near 10 degrees overnight into early tomorrow morning. Just cold enough. See a little fog that may try to develop Saturday morning. I think we can burn that off and then go to 35 Saturday, 44 on Sunday. The fog is something to watch as we melt things the next couple of days. Could have a little bit of that to start each day.
Okay, that darn fog. All right, we were all looking happily when we saw those 50s and 55. How long is it going to take us to get to those?
You can see they don't show up quite yet.
No, they don't.
Here's the deal. If we didn't have the fog, if it doesn't develop or it burns off quick on Sunday, that day could get to 50. But I'm playing conservative. I think the fog's going to be there as you melt off this snow. It does add a little bit of moisture to the air each and every day. Look how quickly we go from single digits up into the 30s on Saturday. So that's some good news. And wind chills up into the 20s. So hopefully by next week, I don't have to use this chart. I don't want it anymore. Done with it. Notice where we're going. 52 on Monday, 59 on Tuesday. The only thing that's keeping us from putting 60s in the forecast in a couple of these days is that fog that I mentioned. It's something that when you melt off the snow this quick, it adds the moisture, and then it's still really tough to burn off a lot of these mornings, and that kind of gets in the way of some of the prime time warming hours. We do a lot of warming from 9 to noon most days, and if we have that fog around, that really hurts us. So that's why a couple of those could be 60s next week. It all depends on the fog.
Anything, though, has got to be better than this week, though.
Better than ever. There's no minus signs on it.
Okay, glass half full.
There you go.
Positive outlook.
I like it.
In the meantime, as far as the roads go, a couple of issues on I-80, Jarrett.
Yeah, we're starting to see traffic increase, and we've had just a couple of minor things that you want to keep an eye out for as you're heading out and about. And we do have more traffic on the roads today with some of the schools in session. Some of them will get a later start, but eventually join some of that traffic. So here's what I'm watching. This includes a crash. This happened a little while ago on I-80 westbound. Near L, the left shoulder is blocked. This was in the traffic lane. It's been moved out of the traffic lane. Here's the latest view of what you've got there, and you can kind of see how the vehicles there are still there on the shoulder. So watch for that. You do have some emergency crews that are still sitting there. That's not a major issue, but it's something to keep in mind. Also on I-80, you're going westbound between 72nd and 84th. We have a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. So with how cold it is, I'm not going to be surprised if we start getting some more of these out there. Case in point, what we've got on Dodge. This is westbound, an Orbit bus that has stalled in the far right lane. So as you're approaching 90th, you need to watch for that as you're heading westbound. A little bit of a delay with that one being in place. A little bit of some higher traffic, but it's not a big deal at this point. So keep in mind, it's cold out there. You may see some of those vehicles that have stalled. So far, so good as far as how things are going for the most part. Just those kind of minor things here and there that you need to keep an eye out for. But keep in mind, you have a whole slew of schools who haven't been in the classroom the last few mornings that maybe you have kind of adjusted yourself back to those expectations. Well, go back to how February normally works with the traffic.
Back to reality, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right. Jarrett, thank you. Well, due to the cold temps, several local school districts, as Jarrett mentioned, have once again changed their schedule. In Nebraska, Westside, Elkhorn, Bennington, Plattsmouth, and Falls City schools are going with that 2-hour delayed start. Bellevue, Blair, and Auburn schools are closed. Omaha Public Schools, along with several other schools in the metro, are back to their normal schedule. In Iowa, Council Bluffs, St. Albert, and Lewis Central schools are also on that 2-hour delayed start. And we've been first alerting you all week to those school closures. Well, these closures can cause stress for some families.
Yeah, some have relatives or friends who can be emergency babysitters, but a lot of people don't have that option. So in North Omaha, the community partnership is working with daycares to make sure their doors are open for working families. The Generation Z Learning Center is providing free care for families in need.
When you don't have an alternative for childcare, but you still have to report to work, some parents may, feel like they have no other choice but to leave their kids at home, and we certainly don't want that.
Mies says that all childcare costs are paid by the organization.
We do have much more on this extreme cold on our website, firstsolar6.com. There you'll find a full list of closings, any cancellations, the latest forecast. You can even submit your own weather videos or photos. Also, be sure to download the First Alert 6 News and weather apps on the App Store or Google Play. Well, Mayor Jean Stothert officially files for re-election.
She's seeking a record 4th consecutive term. Her filing coming just days after one of her opponents, former State Senator Mike McDonnell, suggested that Stothert made a DEI hire when she brought on Tamara Dwyer as Omaha's homeless coordinator. Stothert says that every woman should be offended by McDonnell's remarks.
She was homeless at a time, and she's passionate about it. And she is one of those that got help and then pulled herself up out of the homeless situation, got her bachelor's degree, got her master's degree. She's a master social worker with DHHS. She's a healthcare professional. She is more than qualified.
Stothert said her campaign will focus on her accomplishments as mayor.
A reminder, First Alert 6 is hosting a mayoral debate on March 11th. All 4 candidates will take part. You can watch it on air or on our website, firstalert6.com. Brian Mastry will serve as moderator. It is sponsored by the Omaha Press Club and the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha.
Time for an update now from the First Alert Safety Desk. Marie Cade joining us live. Feeling anxious is a normal part sometimes of life. A lot of people, though, deal with it as a clinical condition. It can be very stressful for them.
Definitely. And with concerns surrounding flying, a lot of people have flight anxiety. Yes. But with all the recent crashes, a lot of people might be feeling that heat a little bit more. So there are some tips that are coming out from experts on things that you could do if you are suffering from anxiety before you get on a plane. So the National Transportation Safety Board shows actually a record low number of airplane accidents happen nationwide for January compared to what people might actually think. So there were 62 in total in January, and most of those were actually on private flights. That's 18 less than compared to last January. There were 80 accidents last year. So one psychologist says squashing those flying fears starts before you even get on the plane. You can try and distract yourself with things to do for the trip and also focus on some of the fun that you're going to have once you get to your destination. You can also also try and focus on controlling things that you can, like picking a seat that makes you most comfortable and choosing early or direct flights.
If you're the person that turbulence bothers you, because that could be part of your fear of traveling, travel early in the morning when the ground is cooler, because when we have the cooler ground, the air is cooler and there's less turbulence.
Now, experts say cognitive behavioral therapy and exposure therapy, those can be pretty helpful too if you do have this fear. And through virtual reality games, the patient can be slowly exposed to the different parts of flying before they actually have to get onto the plane.
And we know that phobias of flying, aerophobia, is a real condition.
Definitely.
So squashing it is not necessarily going to always be a thing.
No.
But the jello theory, if you don't know what that is, extremely helpful to kind of maybe alleviate some of those concerns.
Yeah, the things that you could do to try and calm yourself, it's just going to help you in the long run.
All right, switching gears now. We all know fruits and veggies are a must in our diets, but harmful bacteria is often found on them. You have to have some good tips on how people can keep themselves from getting sick.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's recommended that adults eat 2 cups of fruit and 3 cups of veggies every single day as part of a healthy diet, but experts say, you know, you got to make sure that they're clean and you keep those fresh produce products safe. So most foodborne illnesses in the U.S. are caused by germs on the fresh produce. And safety starts at the store. Now, the CD says to choose fruits and veggies that aren't damaged or bruised on the outside. Also, make sure you keep them separate from any raw meat, poultry, and seafood in your shopping cart and your grocery bags. The safest way to enjoy fresh produce, they say, is to cook it, but washing it in cold running water will also help.
Start with clean hands, surfaces, and utensils. Discard any damaged leaves. Rinse or rub until the surface of your produce no longer looks dirty. You should also dry anything you're not going to immediately eat before putting it away. So blot it with a dry paper towel, for example, or run it through a salad spinner.
Now, experts say to get fruits and veggies home and in your fridge in 2 hours or less after you leave the grocery store. Also, make sure always use those different cutting boards for your fruits and veggies and then your meat or any other food, just to avoid that cross-contamination.
Okay, Maria, thank you. All right, we're back after this.
Happy Friday, everybody. Taking a live look at Omaha, downtown Omaha. Beautiful look as the sun begins to rise. It looks so much better than it feels right now. Let's check in with
the case.
Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord. Actually, we could break another record low this morning.
Yeah, it got down to 15 below yesterday. Now, the coldest we've been so far is 8 below officially. We'll see. Maybe somewhere between some of the hourly readings we dropped a little lower, but coldest so far is 8. The record's 10 below. There are many places around the metro that are colder than this, but I need the airport to drop that low to count as a record. You can see some single digits up and down the river. A lot of double digit below zero air temperatures right now. The wind fairly light out of the south. Calm winds for most locations, though, and that's why the temperatures have fallen off. So the air temperature doesn't differ too much from the actual wind chill right now in many spots, but 24 below is what it feels like in Omaha. So the wind gusts very light this morning. They will pick up this afternoon, could get up near 20 miles per hour with some of those wind gusts. But as we head to 22 or so for the afternoon high, it's dragging in some warmer air along with it. And we won't fall too far too fast tonight. Should dip down in the teens and even single digits above zero. But overall, looking a lot better heading into Saturday and Sunday. Now, something to watch heading into the weekend. The only thing that I think could get in the way of this warming would be fog. This is 3 a.m. Sunday, and this model pretty aggressively putting some fog in our area. We'll have to watch that to start the day. The problem is when you get fog this time of year, the sun angle's very low, and it doesn't help to burn that off very quickly. And it could get in the way of those primetime warming hours in the morning. So we have 44 right now. If that fog is not there, you can see there's it forming in the Platte River Valley. If that fog's not there, I think we got a chance at 50 already on Sunday, but that's the key to this forecast here. And even the overnight lows are looking pretty good, averaging about 21 this time of year. We'll get to that Sunday morning and then really start to climb up to 38 for the morning low as we head into the weekend. So here's a look at the first 5 days of the forecast. 44 Sunday, 52 Monday, making a run at 60 on Tuesday. Some good looking numbers there as we look towards the early part of next week. And next week is the final week of February.
Wow. That was fast.
That was. February always goes by fast, right? Because, well, there's less days, right? In the 10-day, it also looks like we're not dipping back into these freezing temperatures, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once we get and warm up there into the 50s, there's not a lot of change. A lot of 50s. You can see there's a little chance of some rain here on Wednesday. And heading into next weekend, it does cool off a little bit. That's the first couple days of March right there, 40s. That's going to be pretty close to average. Now, there's a little system on Monday trying to bring a little rain to our area. That may graze our northern counties. The Wednesday rain could actually start late Tuesday and linger into early Wednesday, maybe swing through another batch by Wednesday afternoon. So that's something to watch. As of now, everything's warm enough that it does look like it's going to be rain with that system. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. 50s, some showers. I think we can handle that, right?
Oh my! After what we've been through this week,
we should be okay. The air won't hurt.
Imagine that.
Should we have put that mild word on every day compared to where we've been?
Yeah.
Right?
Basically.
That's on him. He messed that up.
All right. Back to today. A lot more people will be on the road because schools are back in session for most parents, teachers, and kids. How are things looking right now?
Well, we're doing okay so far. We've got a couple little minor things that are almost in the cleanup stages, though. So we're moving forward in hopefully a good manner here through the rest of the commute. The top left corner, you can see, is one of our issues that we have had. This was a crash that happened on I-80 around L. We do have a tow truck on the scene now. It's on the shoulder, so watch for that. But it looks like this is about to be wrapped up. Some good news with that one. Also, we do still have that stalled bus, an Orbit bus on westbound Dodge. This is as you're approaching 90th, and so you need to stay left with that one, but again, not a huge deal. Something that we'll be watching here over the next couple of weeks here. Notice how bright things are. Might have a little bit of some sun glare start to become a little more of a factor. And keep in mind, we also have that snow, so bouncing off that gets kind of bright out there. So that may be a factor over the next several weeks. We'll see how that continues to go. But otherwise, pretty quiet out there. Real quick, I do want to remind you, tonight we see 480 closed completely to traffic. This is the Harney Bridge that's going to be demolished over the weekend, scheduled at 9 p.m. and lasting all weekend long through 6 in the morning on Monday. We also have state wrestling that's happening at CHI Health Center, so a lot more traffic downtown that we'll be navigating around this. I do have on our traffic blog all the details on how you can work around this. There'll be plenty of signage to help guide you through this as well, Cerise.
All right, appreciate the heads up, Jared. Thank you. Well, police are investigating a homicide in North Omaha. OPD responded to a stabbing near 60th and Ames. That's where they found a 24-year-old man with multiple stab wounds. Well, he later died at the hospital. Police say the suspect is 27-year-old Elijah Hinton. He was booked for criminal homicide. We do have a warning from local law enforcement exclusively to First Alert 6.
There's a new fentanyl compound on Omaha streets that's more addictive and more deadly. The Douglas County Sheriff says it's used to take one dose of Narcan to reverse the impact and restore breathing for somebody suffering from an overdose. Now it's taking up to 4 or 5 doses to save a life.
Whereas 6 months ago we were seeing maybe 1 or 2 overdoses every 2 weeks. Now we're seeing 3 to 4 overdoses a week. Yeah, we didn't think that we could get much more scared of the effects of fentanyl until we saw this new compound of fentanyl.
Fentanyl is 100 times stronger than morphine, and this new compound is even stronger than that.
Scary.
Very frightening. A major zoo attempt to get back what they just lost a couple of months ago.
The popular creature they're trying to bring back when First Alert 6 streaming returns.
Panda fans could soon have another option to get to see bears in person.
Yeah, Atlanta Zoo says they are in talks with China now to bring the animals back to their city. So the zoo was home to giant pandas for more than 2 decades. Well, their exhibit has sat empty since October when the city's 4 beloved bears returned to China. Only 4 U.S. zoos have welcomed pandas since 1972. Have you guys ever seen a panda in person, like at a zoo anywhere?
Only red pandas.
Yeah,
red pandas.
Yeah, I've seen giant pandas.
Oh, where?
Yeah, the National Zoo in D.C. and then in Taipei, Taiwan, their zoo. They have pandas there too that I've seen in person.
I knew it would be you, Maria.
She's so worldly.
She really is. But if they get them in Atlanta, that's a lot. That's way doable, right?
Can we just run the panda footage of them eating bamboo and
I know,
around?
they're
That's
cute,
so cute,
right?
So cute.
Loves it.
I think that's a good way to end it.
hey.
There they are.
Ask and you shall receive.
Look at that, Rusty. You can ask for anything. Now
I would like $1 million and the next 3 weeks off.
Monkey's paw wrenches.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this Friday morning. We're going to get it ready for our update on the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great Friday.
Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 weather day.
Good Friday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Our last of the days of First Alert Weather Day. Going to be very cold this morning, though. We'll check in with Rusty Lord.
Essentially got about an hour or so before the temperatures then start to warm and stay above 0. 8 below the coldest we've been so far this morning. We're watching that because the record is 10 below, set back in 1918. Broke the record easily yesterday. A little tougher today, but I think we're okay with it. 4 below in Council Bluffs, 13 below in Bellevue. There are some double-digit below 0 readings. Some home thermometers may be showing the same. So it's cold out there nonetheless, just varying degrees of cold. Notice by 9 o'clock we're at 1 below and climbing, so then we get above 0. Should make it into the low 20s today with sunshine. Wind chills up near 10 at their best today, so that's an improvement. And then we warm and melt this weekend. 35 and 44 over the weekend, 50s early next week. Let's send it over to Jarrett for a look at those Friday morning roads.
And a lot more people on the roads with schools back in session. Some with a delayed start, but watch for more traffic than there has been the last couple of mornings. Also, a little bit of some sun glare trying to show up as a factor there. You can see 144th and West Dodge. Did have a crash I-80 near L westbound. That has been cleared. Tow truck has left the scene, so everything looks good there. A stalled bus, this is an Orbit bus, as you're heading westbound on Dodge right near 90th. That blocking the far right lane, so watch for that. But otherwise, it's a pretty smooth start to our morning. Hopefully we can hold that as the case as we go through the rest of our Friday morning drive.
Well, Westside, Elkhorn, and Bennington are going with a 2-hour delayed start today, as is Council Bluffs and Lewis Central. Bellevue, Blair, and Auburn are closed. OPS is back to its regular in-person schedule.
All right, it is 7:28, and we're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.